all of 2021 to write my book. And so before any time that I started writing, I prayed about it because I wanted to be able to, articulate my emotions in a way that people could understand it, but also in a way that I could tell my truth and be open, honest, and transparent about it. So definitely pray before you write. The next thing is editing. So editing and formatting kind of go hand in hand. When you find somebody to edit it, make sure you read it and reread it and reread it again. There were some mistakes I found in my book, that I should have called if I would have did the work, but I was so anxious to get that book in my hand and so excited about actually, publishing a book, that I didn't take the time out to do that. So make sure that you guys reread it, read it, and read it again. Have who's ever editing and formatted it for you, make sure they read that as well.
Can we go back to writing?
Yeah,
real quick? Something I thought about, two things I thought about. One, know your genre, know the type of book you're going to write before you write it. Like I said, I'm more of self-help. So you'll find me writing more self-help books. And if writing is your ministry, part of your assignment in the earth, know your why. A lot of times when I work with authors, I've helped 12 people publish books. And in the beginning of the process, I always ask them, why are you writing this? Why are you writing it? Why, because in those hard times, when you have the writer's block or when you get discouraged or when you don't feel like the project is coming together, you'll know the reason why you're writing and who you're writing for. Also, when sometimes we get lost in the writing process with just writing a whole bunch of stuff, if you remember the purpose of why you're writing, who you're writing to, what you want them to get from your project, then it can steer you back in to where you're not writing all over the place. So it's important to know that. Like for me, one thing I know that typically part of my assignment in the earth is healing, trauma, and development, right? Purposeful development. And so typically, whenever you find me writing something, I'm always writing in that lane. Mental health affirmations, my journals about vision, the enemy within, overcoming negative and defeating thoughts, right? I have a devotional coming out with mental health devotional and different things like that. I stay in my lane, right? And so part of that discovery process as a writer, know your lane. Know your lane. Yeah, I ain't typically writing biographies, right? My biography is my testimony when I'm talking a lot of times. That's not part of my assignment in earth. Not saying that God won't tell me to do that, or that may be something, but typically I stay in my lane. Even with writing too, God will drop ideas on it. I have a book list of ideas already to write, right? And so when I get into a season where I feel, y'all kind of creatives like me, I always feel like I got to be creating something. If I can create a shoe, babe, I'm going to create something. I feel like I got to be creating, right? And so when I get into those stagnant places of creating, I pull out my list of things that ideas that God has given me. Okay, God, what's next? What's the next book? What's the next journal? What's the next course? What's the next, thing? So don't be afraid to write out ideas of books that drop in your spirit, because it may not be for now. It may be for then, but just write it down. But big thing, know your lane.
Can I just go back and piggyback with her on writing, because it does trigger when you hear stuff. And so when I think about the writing, again, knowing your target audience, it has to be something that's going to be interesting, something that's going to captivate the writer. Because if it's not interesting to you, what do you normally do? Just toss it to the side. So you want to make sure that it's interesting, but you want it to be inviting, because you want to be able to draw them into your story. And in drawing them into your story, if it's inspiring, it's going to initiate them to change. If they can do that, then I can do that too. But the one thing that I love about writing is that you had just Ebony, I call her Apostle Ebony because she don't think I don't know who she is, but I remember and I know who she is. But just like Apostle Ebony said, you got to know your purpose for writing. A lot of time we make writing personal. Is it about my life? Yes, but it shouldn't be personal. It has to be purposeful. What I mean by that is a lot of times we start out with our purpose and it focuses on person. It doesn't need to be me. It could be about what has happened to me, but don't just let it be all me. And so again, keep it purposeful so that people understand, what is your purpose for writing this? You're not writing to talk about you. You're writing to help someone else. You're writing to heal yourself and hopefully heal someone else along the way. So make sure you do that. But the one thing I want to share with you is posture and position is imperative. If you're going to write, and I'm saying this from a standpoint spiritually, is because if you're not in place, position, connected to God, it's going to be hard to get those downloads. And so posture is your prayer time. That's your prayer, your praise, your worship. So it doesn't matter if you're doing all that and you're not connected. So you need posture and position if you're going to be able to get that impartation to present it to others.
That's good. And piggybacking, I know we're gonna be here all day. God, no. But you know what? Impartation happens, downloads happen also in vision and dreams.
Okay.
God's given me Mastery Moments Co is my journal line that I'm expanding out this year. He gave me the expansion in a dream. And you have to know that God speaks to you and that he'll give you ideas and creative ideas through a dream. My book, Mental Health Affirmations, he gave that to me in a dream, right? And even in the dream, he told me, don't put scripture in it because I want it to cross over. My book goes into hospitals, it goes to schools and things like that. I have partnership with those places because it doesn't have scripture in it. Now, those who are scripturally inclined know, it may be some of the word in it, but I don't have scripture written, right? I'd have to know the audience. So know that God will sometimes, it'll come in an idea, but sometimes it'll come in a dream or a vision.
And you do have to kind of present it for your audience. Like you said, you know that you have a relationship with God, but you know, if that's going to offend the audience that you're trying to reach, you can say what you need to say, just like the book of Esther doesn't mention God, but you know, it's all about God. So again, there's a way that you can present it whereas you don't offend. The other thing that I was going to say to you when she talked about the downloads and the writing is that we know that communing with God is not convenient. It's not about convenience. It's about compliance. Yeah. Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to get up in the middle of the night? Because I'm telling you, I wasn't willing last night, but I had to. So when God gives you downloads, you have to be willing. It's not convenient. God wants to interrupt your time, your schedule. So he wants to know, are you willing to be interrupted so that he can download and pour into you? So again, it's not about convenience, guys. It's about compliance. If you're willing to do this journey, you better be willing to commit to the time to be inconvenienced by God to get what you need.
May I ask you a question? If and first of all, you guys are awesome. I mean, awesome, all of you. If I was a writer and I didn't know God, and I understand everything you guys are saying is apropos for the setting, but if I was a writer and didn't know God, and I did not subscribe to your process of praying to get downloads and so forth, would you then recommend that I rely solely upon my prowess, or what would be my process?
To me, my process to you would be find those times that you're not distracted. And so find the time that you can have quiet time where you can just pull away to yourself and just focus on what you hear in your heart, not necessarily in your head, because distractions are going to come. So you want to focus on what you have received by whatever source you've received it, and you want to stay geared to that. It's not that no one's going to force Jesus or God on you, because that's not where you are. But where you are is where you start. And from that point, you can still get to the same outcome based on where you are without all the spiritual implications to it.
And just because you don't know God doesn't mean he don't know you.
Right.
Right.
Oh.
All perfect gifts come from the Lord. We're all born with the gifts, right? If you're a writer, you were born to be a writer, regardless if you know God or not. And so it's still the same process for me, setting that quiet writer's time aside, right? Jotting down ideas that come, you don't know that they come from God, right? You don't know that they're spiritually inclined, but still set that time aside to write. Brain dump, the brain dumping is still, whether it's you understand that it's impartation or release from God, or if it's just you getting it out of your head and your heart onto a piece of paper. So the process for me is still the same for the person who knows God or don't know God, because it's still, you don't know God, but he still knows you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's powerful. That was probably the most powerful statement ever right there.
Absolutely.
And guys, of course, again, thank all of you. I just wanted that to be out there and be made plain, because I'm sure a lot of us are going to come in contact with people that don't know God, but could still use a lot of your practical applications that you've given, and just want a way to properly convey it. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay, so the next one is, I think we kind of talked about editing a little bit. Did you guys have something else for
I
editing?
do.
Okay.
She said something that was really important with editing. Editors are human. I learned this the hard way 7 times. Fix it, Jesus. Editors are human, right? They have software. Well, first off, with editing, you edit your stuff first. Granted, like I said, y'all know I got that ghetto swing twang thing, right? So I'm gonna do the best I can. I got my MacBook, that app, that Word is gonna fix it. I'll be like, ooh, you know what, that ain't right, right? Before I send it to the editor, I'm gonna do a soft edit the best that I can. And then you send it over to an editor. Now, editing may be the most expensive part of the process of writing, but you want to invest. Listen, y'all.
Yeah.
You want to invest. Listen, y'all. Hear you, girl. Listen.
Please.
I'm telling y'all, pay for a good editor, okay? And some editors are really great. They'll edit and format for you depending on who you get, but pay for a good editor. And you edit first, the editor edits. Before you do the final approval with the editor, you go back and read it. You put another eye on it that you trust, that editing may be their strong point. Don't get somebody, listen, y'all know I got my little ghetto twang, so I'm gonna get my ghetto sis to edit for me. I'm just not, right? But I'm gonna get it. It ain't our strong point, man. So I'm gonna get somebody whose English is their strong point to put their eyes on it again before I allow the editor to complete the project. That's important. Remember I told you guys I wrote my first book in 2 weeks? Boy, that thing was horrible. And it wasn't the information, it was the editing. Boy, I read that book, I was like, my God, today people actually bought this, you know, and because I paid very cheap for an editor, I rushed the process, I didn't read it myself, and I didn't get a second person to read it again. Right. So even after I published the book, I had to take it back and have it I had to have it edited and then resubmitted for publish. Okay. So it's important. Even when I did my journals, I had my journal edited. I did the first copy of it. And then when I sent it to have it redone, which is the versions I have now, I sent it to the graphic designer. Well, the graphic designer from Kickaboo, Chakawa, or wherever she's from. And everything was perfect in the editing, but somehow, some way, you know, their English is different or broken from ours. Well, she misspelled a couple of words that I didn't go back and look at because it was right when I sent it to her, right? So with editing, I paid hard lessons for this. Pay a lot of money, this fixed editing, pay for a good editor. Editors are human. Go back and look at it. Have someone else, a trusted friend, that if you hadn't released or talked about your project out to the public, have someone that you can trust to put their eyes on it too before you finalize it with the editor, okay? They're human. They will make mistakes. They may not catch some things. Or some editors, editing, I'm telling you guys, is the biggest part of the process, because even though I have my ghetto vernacular, I don't want to sound like how probably Dr. Taylor sounds. So a good editor is able to keep the tone of my writing and my personality while making it grammatically correct.
Yeah.
Right. So that's important as well. But I mean, y'all, I'm telling you, write the book, but the editing is the most important part.
It is. Just to piggyback on what she said, I promise you, that's the biggest investment that you can do is the editing. And I know we have a lot of friends that say, you know, I'm really good at that. No, don't trust it. You've seen their Facebook posts, you've seen their text. Right. Why would you let them edit your book? No, you really have to work your strength and staff your weaknesses, please. And I'm saying that because sometimes even if we're good in English and we're good at correcting and proofreading grammatical errors, if you wrote the book and you go in and make errors, guess what you're going to start doing? Changing words and changing things. You're not editing your book. You're editing what you put in there. So you need someone else with fresh eyes to actually look at the grammatical part. Because what happens is that we have the words like the when we meant to have there. And I understand that Microsoft has word spell correct, but that's all it does. It corrects the spelling of the word, not the actual word itself if you misuse the wrong word. So Grammarly is another software where you can do like soft edits that, and if you upgrade, it'll reformat it for you. But again, if you're like us, if you write the way you talk, you want your personality in the book. And so you don't want someone changing who you are because you want that to be in the book. And so one of the things that I found that was helpful when doing a soft edit is because our brain naturally overlooks errors. Find a piece of paper and start reading and you'll see the errors. You just gonna walk straight through them because you know what it meant. But if you read backwards, you're able to pick up the errors and you can make the correction. So start at the end of the line and go backwards, and then you can see, oh, that's wrong. But if you go forward, your brain is naturally gonna say, oh, I know what that meant, and keep going. And that's how we overlook. But if you go backwards, it'll be easier for you to do the editing.
And another thing to add, that I've worked with my last couple of coaching clients with writing a book is have Word has, not dictation, where it can read it to you
Oh, yeah.
and allow the book to read to you. Because like Dr. Taylor said, when you've written the book, you know what it's supposed to say. So you're overlooking small things. But when you allow the book to read to you, you'll be like, oh, that's not what I meant to say. Or, oh, that doesn't sound right. And so even before you send it to an editor, even after, listen, y'all, I'm telling you, editors are human.
Yeah.
I can't
Yes.
stress that enough. They will miss some things, right? Let it read to you and have that quiet time where you're listening to your book, and you'll catch small things that way as well. I know we spend a lot of time on editing, but y'all listen.
It's important.
You have to, because I have a book here from a former pastor, and this is a powerful book, but the justice is not done because the person that did the editing, there's so many grammatical errors in here, it takes away from the book. And it's such a powerful book. And so I would love to just rewrite it just for that purpose. But again, you got to make sure you do the editing. Invest in that. Invest in editing, because the least little thing is going to throw it off. And if you want to have success at it, God is the God of excellence. And so we should be people of excellence. So you want it done in a manner that people are going to want to pick it up and enjoy and not stumble over words. And not figure out, who did this? Was this a fifth grader or something like that? Invest in the editor, really, because that's the bulk of your book, editing.
And don't get discouraged. When I say that editing is probably the most costly part of the process, that doesn't mean it's going to be $400, $500, $600. I mean, y'all listen. All right, just look it down. Fiverr.com, baby. peopleperhour.com. FIVERR.com.
Yeah.
peopleperhour.com. They have Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, whatever needs they are. People overseas that do this, and they do it for cheap. Now, granted, don't go to the $5 person. If you know your book 500 pages and they charge you $5, listen to this.
Something ain't right.
You're gonna get $5 worth of editing, okay? But it doesn't have to be hundreds of dollars either. One thing about going on Fiverr and People Per Hour, read the reviews. Read the reviews of people who've used this person before. See what type of editor they are. Some people may be scholarly editors, where they're editing dissertations and scholarly work and things like that. And then you may have editors that may be in your genre, so find an editor that's more applicable to the type of writing that you're doing. But I've had good editing for less than $100, right? So it doesn't have to be, like I'm saying, it's the most expensive part of the process, but it doesn't have to be hundreds and thousands, just take that time to read the reviews. If you know someone that, word of mouth, when I find a person, I have a girlfriend that does editing, she's more on the pricier side, right? So if I have clients that can afford her price range, I recommend them to her. But if not, I send them to my couple of people that I Fiverr that does editing for me. So it just depends. It doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have to be hundreds of dollars, but it probably is going to be the most costly part of the project if you're self-publishing.
Yeah. And then the other thing is sometimes you can connect with some colleges because you have some journalism majors and they're doing other things on the side, or they may be doing internships in some form, and you may be able to connect with some of them at a lower rate to get your editing done. So there are various resources that you can get on getting your book edited. And sometimes you can just offer like in-kind services. I had someone edit my book because he just wanted to read it and he wanted a copy of it. And he was a former publicist. And so I was like, yes, yes. So
Yeah.
that worked out well. So again, there are people that are out there. And like I said, it doesn't have to break the bank. God will open doors for you. You just got to be in tune to it.
Yeah, and we learned this like through trial and error, right? By
Yes.
making those mistakes. So we don't want you guys to make those
Lots.
mistakes. Believe me, I've learned so much from this book. And also, you may not need this now, but you may in the future for whatever reason, but you can relaunch a book that you've already published. Like this book right here, which I plan to do also. Like I can go get it re-edited, put another book cover on it, and just relaunch it on Amazon. You can relaunch the same book.
Yeah.
Just a piece of information that you guys can know. Formatting. Formatting, editing kind of goes hand in hand. There are certain dimensions that Amazon requires. So definitely find somebody who knows how to put your book on Amazon, who knows how to, honestly, I use the same person for editing, formatting, and so definitely find someone to do all three of those things, or you can find somebody to do separately. But yeah, there's different dimensions that you need to use for Amazon. Also, there are keywords, and keywords are important. So whether you put in your keywords on Amazon or your formatter or editor does, make sure it's specific to what kind of book that you wrote. And there's certain software that, if you use on Amazon, you can get and you sell like a certain number of books, you can get #1 new release in like the first couple of weeks, or #1 bestseller in the first couple of weeks. But there's just certain keywords that you have to use, and make sure that person that you use with your editing formatting knows that.
And the other thing about the formatting, I just went straight to the KDP website. And so it tells you everything you need to know about publishing your book. And so I have this for you guys and you can get it. It actually has the website that you can go to it. It has templates that you can download depending on the sizes of the book that you want, in any size that you want. All that information is there. It has a checklist of everything that you need for your book. And I'm telling you that KDP is the best route to take,
Yeah.
because Amazon is about making money and they want a cut of what you got. So with that, they have everything laid out for you. They make it as simple, as easy as possible for you to do your book. And again, you can order your own copies and just sell them yourself. But Amazon does all the footwork for you that you don't have to.
And it's free to put on Amazon, by the way.
Absolutely.
You don't have to pay anything to put your book on Amazon.
No.
But there is another option, or
Yes.
2 or 3. So Amazon is one of the best when it comes to actually launching your book. But there's also a company called Lulu, Lulu. The thing I like about Lulu versus, and I kind of push my clients that way towards Lulu, is because Lulu has different formatting options and different book options. With Lulu, you can have hardback, which KDP has added the hardback option. You can have spiral, you can have stitch, you can do calendars, you can do picture books. So it gives you more options as far as how your book is printed. Amazon and Lulu both do this. It's called expanded distribution. And so what expanded distribution is, if you use, you put your book on Amazon, right? And if it meets the requirements of the size and the dimensions for expanded distribution, then Amazon will distribute your book to all of the other book publishers. So you'll see your book on Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all of the other different Target, Walmart, all the other different platforms that's available for your books, and Lulu does that as well. Like I said, the only thing that I like about Lulu, more than Amazon is Amazon's easy. So when I have clients that just want to go the easy route, we definitely go to Amazon. It's easy, it's user friendly. It's definitely especially when you're wanting to self-publish. But when you're wanting to create a publishing company, or you wanting to expand a little more, you want to go outside of just the normal paperback, I tell them to go to Lulu, because the price and the cost is the same. You still are able to do the expanded distribution. You're able to get the author's copies. And at the time, Lulu was getting the books back faster than Amazon, because at one time Amazon was taking forever to get us our author's copies.
Oh, yeah.
And the main reason I tell most of my people to use Lulu versus Amazon is because Lulu has the ability to do, what's the word, Holy Spirit? It's not drop shipping, but drop shipping. So for instance, I can take my book on Lulu. I'll get a programmer to go to my website. When Dr. Taylor goes to my website and order a book from my website, I keep the profits. That's for me. The money for the book, like if the book costs $2.17 to make, plus shipping about $7, that $9.17 automatically goes to Lulu. Lulu prints my book, it takes my books, and it ships it directly to Dr. Taylor as if I did it. Amazon doesn't have that ability yet.
Right.
So that's the only thing. Now you can have a website where you can create your website, and you can have a link where it links directly to Amazon, and Amazon is able to, ship it and publish it out. But Amazon has a royalty rate, right? So you're going to be paying the, 60, 40, 70, 30 royalty rate, whereas at Lulu, you only pay them the amount that the book costs plus the shipping, and you keep all your profit. So you have a greater profit margin with Lulu versus Amazon. So.
Yeah, that's really good information. So the next thing is ISBN number. I got mine from the Boker. Yeah, Bowker. And so that's the only option that I know of. You guys know?
Actually, there's several
There's
places
several.
out there where you can even buy group ISBN.
Okay.
And the importance of the ISBN is that it tracks your book. It tracks the purpose of your book, the purchase of your book, and it tracks your book. So if you're going to do audio, ebook, hardback, you need 3 ISBN numbers.
Right.
You can't just take the one ISBN number for the book. You're going to have to get multiple. And so sometimes they'll have specials. In fact, I knew that I was going to be doing a book this summer. So there was a website, for authors, and they just sent me one, and it was like, you can get 2 ISBN numbers for like $19 each. So I just went ahead and just secured mine with the barcode, so that when I'm ready for my book, I already have my ISBN number. So there are some things that you can do, and I'll find those resources and get those to you guys as well. But yeah, that you can just buy ISBN numbers in bulk if you know you've been doing a lot right.
Right. And broker.com is the main one where you can get them. I'm a source type person. I hate middleman type people. I hate middleman. And so when I first started writing my book, I was trying to take out the middleman. I was like, I ain't paying nobody nothing. Right. When I started doing my journals, I was like, I ain't going to, Lord, send me to China. Find me a way to get to China, Lord. And he did it. Seriously, because I hate the middleman. So I ain't trying. Baby, listen, you ain't upselling me nothing. Who did this for you?
Right.
Who I'm trying to find. But anyway, and so broker.com is that, and like Dr. Taylor said, I bought 20 ISBNs because I know that I'm a write. And you can buy them in bulk like that. And it's cheaper. The more you buy, the cheaper they are.
Correct.
Now there is a free option of ISBNs that you can get from Amazon or get from Lulu. When you're uploading your books to Amazon and Lulu, they do have the option to where they'll provide you one free of charge. Now, the thing is, when you get the ones that those websites offer free of charge to you, they're only limited to their platform. So you can get a free ISBN from Amazon free of charge. If you don't plan on hosting your book, if you only plan to host your book on Amazon and all the distribution places that they launch to, use the free one, sis. But if you plan to take your books to other places and have them on different shelves in different places, then that's where the legal issue come in at. So Amazon, Lulu, it's another, I can't recall it right now.
ISBN services. They do ISBN numbers.
So, and ISBNs, they're not that expensive. Like I said, if you're gonna do multiple projects, buy ISBN in bulk. If you're gonna become a publishing house, buy ISBN in bulk. So yeah, and that's important. It's something else that's not on here, that kind of goes on along with the legality of it, is getting your book copywritten.
Copyright.
Oh, yeah. I
Yes.
forgot about that.
Copyright.gov is
Mhm.
the website. It's cheap. It's $49, $59, $69. I can't remember right off, but it's no more than $69. And you just upload your material for copyright. So legally it's yours. Now, granted, when you write a material, legally it's your material. But just to have the extra seal of approval to say in the, you know, legally that this is copywritten, and when you pull this up, this is mine. Also, if you plan to put your book in the Library of Congress, you also need that copywritten from copyright.gov. So, and to get your book in the Library of Congress is free, but you got to have that the copyright.
Right.
And all of this stuff, you guys, I do more I help people with more self-publishing than going to publishing houses. And so this is all stuff that you can do yourself. So anything that I'm telling you can do,
Right.
literally you can do it yourself. I taught myself to do it through a lot of trial and error, spent a lot of money, made a
Right.
lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Right, but you all can do it yourself. So going to copyright.com, I'm not saying this to be any type of way, but it's idiot proof. Listen, if I can do it, we all can do it, right? Going to the Library of Congress and uploading your book, it's foolproof. You can do it yourself. But if y'all like me, sometimes you want to save time, pay somebody to do it, and they'll do it for you.
The one thing that I want to add to that, there are some of you that are like me that are from the older generation, where we used to do what was called the poor man copywriting process. Don't do that. Don't do that. That was where they would put something in an envelope, seal it, mail it to themselves, and not open it,
Oh,
just
yeah.
to guarantee that, you know, it's got this postal stamp on it, and then they were the first one to write it. Don't do that. Just go ahead and get it copyrighted. And I would say, go ahead and get your manuscript copyrighted beforehand, because sometimes even if you send it to someone you can't trust, if you're slacking getting your stuff done and you haven't gotten it copyrighted yet, somebody can steal your project and they're gone with it and it's theirs and they've done it and you sitting there looking crazy. So again, make sure you get your stuff copyrighted so that you have those protections for yourself. And you know, there are some people, if you want other people to have access to it, to be able to make copies of stuff, state that in your book, you know, that they can contact you and make copies, especially if it's a learning material and you really want to share it with other people and you want to get it out there. So just put that information there so that people know that it's available if they contact you or if they have your permission to do so.
So
I know this seemed like a lot, don't it, y'all? But it's not. It's not. It's
Right.
just all a part. Some stuff you
It's
can
just a
skip.
process.
Yeah, it's just a process. And listen, some of the stuff y'all can skip. You don't don't want to send it to the copyright office, you don't have to, right? You don't want to send it to the Library of Congress, you don't have to.
Right.
I sure will. There's some, you know what I mean? If you don't want to have the editing process, have a close friend, you read it 3 times, you don't have to. It's your baby. But like Dr. Taylor said, it's all about the excellency of God and being a representation of God's excellency. You want to put your best out there so you don't have to pull it back like I did and re-edit it and relaunch, you know what I mean? And finding out grammatical errors after the fact. So you don't have to do some of this stuff you don't have to do. But if you want, it's your first project. And you know how we had that first baby, can't nobody hold it, can't nobody touch it. You want to make sure it's right. You wiping the nose every time they cough and changing the diaper every 35 minutes and it ain't even wet yet. You know what I mean? So just handle this first baby. See your book as your first baby and handle it with care and make sure you're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's up front so it won't cost you more on the back end.
You know what I was thinking about? I forgot the name of the company where like you upload your book so that it can be found at Walmart and Barnes and Noble and Target.
That's the expanded distribution
Okay,
that's
okay.
on
That's what
Amazon
that
and
was.
Lulu. Mhm.
Yeah. And they find that with the ISBN number. Like if when you get your ISBN number and you tell somebody that they can go pick your book up at Barnes and Noble, they can just go to Barnes and Noble, tell them the ISBN number, or even just a title, and they can find it there. So it's not just on Amazon. It'll be Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, Amazon, and other places like that. So a book cover, you can Fiverr is like so well-rounded. You can find so much on Fiverr. It is an app. You can go online. It's really easy. Really, really user-friendly. They have so many different options. So you guys have anything on Fiverr?
The other thing that I want to add is that I was kind of surfing the net the other day and came across Book Brush. And Book Brush is another option of designing your book cover. And what I want to share with some of you guys is that you can go on and kind of play with it, and it'll let you download the copy that you created. And there's samples and backgrounds and things like that, but it'll have a watermark on it. But if you guys are interested in this, I do have a paid version of it. So if you find something and you're interested in, get with me and we can get that downloaded and get it to you. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Book Brush is really good. So there are certain parts of the writing process in books that I just don't want to deal with. And there's something I'm just gonna pay for. I'm not a graphic designer. I pay to get my book covers done. I'm not ever gonna try to do it. I'm not ever gonna try to design it. That ain't the will of the Lord for my life, okay? He just want me to write. That's just sister gonna do it, just
Stay
right.
in your lane.
Stay in your lane. No, seriously. But there's also like sometimes how they have it here in a process, and then you get to book cover. Sometimes I tell my authors to do your book cover first. Because something about getting that book cover done, baby, make us feel, listen, real official, right?
This is done.
Yes, so let me finish my book so I can get the book cover done. But with the book cover, with going with the graphic designer, there's specific things you need to know. You need to know the dimensions of the book. Are you going to do a 6x9? Are you going to do a 5x8? Are you going to do a 5x5 by 8.25? Are you going to do a 4x7? Are you going to do a 4x6? It's important to know. And if you don't know, listen, what I did, I got all my favorite books, all TD Jakes and all them people. I said, okay, which size I want? Me got my little measuring thing out. Oh, okay, this 6x9. Okay, 6x9 is what it is. Seriously. And then when I did my other, I said, well, I want it kind of little. I found some other books. I said, oh, this size right here. Got my little tape measure out. Oh, okay, this is the size. But when you go get a graphic designer, whether you go to Fiverr, your friend or whomever, there are some things you're gonna have to know about the book cover. You're gonna need to know the book cover size. You're gonna need to know about how many pages you're going to have in your book, because you need to know how many pages to know if you have the book is thick enough to have a spine.
Right.
Some books you'll see that have spine, like Kim's book, she has a spine where she's able to have the title and her name on it because she has enough pages to support it. But books about this size, you're not going, it does, well, wait. Brother got some.
It's got some on there.
But it's so hard to
But typically
see.
you won't see that in this size.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Oh, the girl got his logo and everything. Okay. But it's so hard to see. You don't want that.
Right.
I think Amazon recommendation is, I mean, he got it on. I think Amazon recommendation is 102 pages, if I'm not mistaken, to be able to have a
Sure.
writing on the spine. I think it's 102. It's either 99 to 102 or something like that. But graphic designers who's worked with, especially on Fiverr, like they'll have, when you're looking on Fiverr at book cover designers, just put in book cover designer, thousands of them gonna pop up. Read the reviews, look at previous covers that they've designed, because they may not be your style, right? Yes, ma'am. It depends.
There's a
Yeah.
standard and what you choose.
Right.
There you go. So the standard is typically 11 to 12 font, right?
Mhm.
Some people choose, they be trying to stretch it. I've seen books with 14 and 16 and
seen
Well,
about
as we
18.
get older, we
18.
want to be able to read the book and not have all those little bitty things that look like gibberish on the page. So you may want to have a bigger font for those of us whose eyesight is not 20/20 anymore.
I like that.
Okay.
You see how she fixed it?
She did. She did that.
It
It would
add,
increase your page number.
right. It will
Yeah.
increase or decrease the page numbers. So sometimes, and there have been times, I think in my first or second book, when I wanted to meet the requirement to have a spine, baby, I increased that 0.5, go up 0.5 more, go up 0.5. Okay, we got the pages now. Got the page numbers there. Listen, got my spine. So, you know, it just depends on what you're trying to do. Listen, out here in these writing streets, you do what you gotta do to make. I wasn't gonna write. No, I was like, I'm over this book. I ain't writing another sentence. 0.5, I increased that sucker till we got to the dimensions that was needed. And I published it, okay? So it does, it's like I said, it's the standard. And when you get a formatter, it's important for that because formatters, what formatters does is, you know how you have the chapters lined out and how some at the beginning of the first word, it have like a big A and line it out, or how you'll have like some of the, like if you're doing like a journal or devotional, how it has like the flowers on the side and the headings real pretty, and do the title heading and the page numbers and stuff like that. That's what the formatter does. And so sometimes the formatter, if they're going off of standard, they're going to automatically take it down to 12 or the 11 or whatnot. So if you want it in a larger font, let them know like, hey, leave it in my 13. Right. Leave it in my 14, or if they change it, go back, or after they format your book and you realize you don't have as many pages or whatever it is, you can tell them before you approve the project, say, hey, increase the body of my script to 14 or 15 or whatever font size you decide. But going back, so book cover, things you need to know about the book cover. You need to know the size, what size you're going to create the book in. You need to know if it's going to be hardback or paperback, because that matters with the bleed sometimes. You need to know the amount of pages on the inside. That, like I said, determines if you're going to have a spine or not, words on the spine or not. But listen, brother got words on his spine, and they don't like his 102. So
No,
with God, all things are possible,
Yes.
right?
All things.
What else they need? Oh, if you've purchased your ISBN and bookmark, ISBN and barcode already, send that to the graphic designer as well, so they can make a space in the back. When sending your cover and your synopsis on the back and your picture or your bio or whatever you're going to put on the back of the book, it already needs to be edited before you send it to the book, the person that's going to do your book cover. It already needs to be edited. So if your bio, you know, have somebody read it, that synopsis or whatever you put on the back or the front of the book, make sure it's pre-edited before you send it to the person that's going to do your book cover design, because they don't do edit. They're simply graphic designers. Right. So your words be misspelled and they will put it right on there just like that. They will.
Yeah.
As is, because they're the graphic designer. They're not the editors. So then it's important. Make sure that y'all, okay, this is just my personal pet peeve. And I bought a camera to become a photographer for some of my clients. Don't y'all send them people no selfies to put on back of the books.
Oh yeah.
Y'all got Android. You don't have to be professional. Get somebody to take this phone and have the camera facing towards you and take a picture. Don't hold that camera up like this and send them people. That's so, y'all can do it if you want to, but y'all don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't. Just
definitely not a bathroom self.
Oh, please, Lord, no. Well, if you do a bathroom selfie, sometimes they can take out the backgrounds. Like some good ones, they'll knock out the background. But y'all listen.
We know the lighting is better, but
again,
we
we want to see the
want to
style
keep it professional.
as much as possible. Get on a clear background. Move them chairs over there, that wall.
I mean, and get you a tripod if you don't have anybody. You can get a tripod for like $14, $15 and put it on your phone and stand back and take some pictures until you get it perfect. And that's the picture that you want.
Seriously.
They come with a remote.
Yes, there are a lot of things you can do, but you just don't do the self.
Don't think. I hate selfies. If I turn the book over, I'll be like, man, I really want to buy this book, but I can't stand it. Man, seriously, I'm so petty like that, y'all.
Because you didn't put enough into it. So why should I invest my time in reading a book that you didn't invest enough into it to make it appealing to me? And
no car pictures. But them typically be selfies anyway. You're sitting there, you know, but they got that good lighting in the car, got that. Don't, sis. May the force be with you. Don't do that. I digress. I digress.
But it was necessary.
Yes. So, I already have it formatted. I already know when you send it to the book cover, everything you want, front and back. Sometimes if you get a person that you have a good relationship on Fiverr, after you write, may write more or less pages than intended. If you get the book cover done first, they'll go back and change because it's just small changes to them.
Right.
They'll go back and fix it for you or whatnot, but those are the things. Am I missing anything, ladies, about the book cover that they
That's
need
pretty
to
much it,
know?
making sure that, again, that you spell check, and you have your editing for your information on the back. Again, like with some of those that you can do, make sure that you have your barcode and your ISBN number, all of that stuff needs to be in place.
And if you plan on using one of the free ISBN, from Amazon, Lulu, or the publishing site you choose, that's fine. They'll know to just leave that space blank for you. And then when you upload it to the site, it'll automatically place it there. So not a big deal if you don't buy your ISBNs prior to.
And if you're still a little confused about, the dimensions and stuff for Amazon, we do have handouts, right? That
Yeah.
has all the dimensions and stuff
Yeah.
that we're gonna give
I
you
mean, and then
guys.
there's a website, Amazon website, it'll go to, and it'll let you download a packet with all of the book sizes. And
Mhm.
there, some are blank templates where you can put your own information, some are samples. And so it has that, so all you have to do is just download and just copy and paste your stuff over in there. So it's real easy for you guys. So all those book sizes that's available on KDP on Amazon are there in their website.
Lulu
Right.
does too.
Yeah.
24-hour books, Book Baby, all of those different places. Don't go to any of those that I just named. And why I say that is because the
Right.
pricing changes. I've used a lot of different places. 48-hour books, I used them when I did my first book because I needed it back really fast. Remember, I thought I did it in 2 weeks and I needed it before my first conference. Because I'm of the idea, don't host an event if you don't have a product to sell. So it was high. With Amazon and Lulu, the price of the book is the price of the book. If it costs $2.17 to make the book, whether you order one book or whether you order 30 books, it's $2.17.
Mhm.
With places like Book Baby and 48hourbooks.com, they have different options. 48-hour books has lots of options, even more than Lulu. But you have to order 100 books, 125 books, just to get the price of the book down to like $3 and $4. If you order 30 books, you're probably going to pay $8, $9 a book. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So
That's into your profit.
it cuts into your profit. So I don't ever recommend places like 48-hour books or Book Baby unless you want to crunch and you need that sucker back fast. I mean, I had my books back in 3 days. It was a miracle. But I had to pay the price for it. So, but those websites do have, to my thought, they all have downloads of book sizes and the requirements if you plan to upload to those sites.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Pre-launch and marketing. So marketing is probably equally important as editing because people got to know that your book exists, right? And so for a pre-launch, I would suggest like hyping your book up maybe a month, even 2 months before it even launches. DM 50 people and tell them when your launch date is. Ask them if they be willing to read your manuscript and write you a review on your launch date. That way, whenever you launch your book on Amazon, you already have those 50 reviews, and reviews on Amazon for your book are super, super important. So using Fiverr again to, get those graphics and stuff, to support you and your book on social media. All social media platforms are very, very important. That's how you're going to get your name out there, get your voice heard, get your story read. And so definitely do a pre-launch. If you can do more than 50, I just suggest 50. Just hit up 50 people. You ain't even got to know them, right? Just send them your manuscript if they're willing to do it. And, let them know that, hey, my launch date is on such and such. This is when my book is going to release. Do you mind writing a review on Amazon? That way, as soon as your book launches, you'll have those reviews.
And make sure that it's people that that's gonna have follow through. Cause you can choose 50 people and only 5 of them are gonna respond.
Right.
So again, choosing those people that that are gonna follow through, that's gonna have time to do that. Cause again, that's a critical piece.
baby, listen, I was a chicken. Okay, when I wrote that first book, baby, I didn't want nobody to know. I put it out there one time. I was trying to hide from it. I was like, Lord, I don't know if it's good. I don't know if people gonna read the book. I don't know if I really want them to have the book, but I done wrote this book, Lord.
It was just for me. I just had an accomplishment done.
You know, baby, listen, I ain't do no pre-launch. I was like, I was trying to hide that book. Then, you know, because the reality of the situation is that first book, listen, I was scared. I was like, shoot, you know, I'm thinking I'm halfway illiterate in English and everything. Like, am I gonna read this book? But the reality is that first book, you know who bought most of my book? Friends and family.
Yeah.
You know who talked that book up? Friends and family. I'm like, it was good for real. Like, dang, they was, you know, and I was like, for real, you know, I wouldn't even publish, I wouldn't even put it on Facebook. I was so scared. I put that book on there one time. They was like, you wrote that book? And I was like, yeah. But everybody kept tagging me in the book, and I was like, yeah, I wrote that. That's what I'm talking about. I did that. So I said, oh, the same. Sometimes you won't have a pre-launch, baby. You're gonna be scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wasn't standing in the authority, like, yeah, you know, God told me to do this. I'm putting this, baby. Now I wasn't writing up 50 people inbox. I wasn't inboxing nobody about nothing, okay? And I wasn't telling them do. When they came to the book lunch, I was at my table like, dang, they gonna really buy this book. They gotta read this book. God, dog. But it was a mess, y'all. It was a mess. I'm telling you. But it blessed so many people. Even in the editing mess that I went through, it was a blessing to people because God told me to do it, right? And so sometimes you're gonna be a chicken. You ain't gonna wanna, you listen, you scared to write the book, so you definitely gonna be scared to inbox 50 people, and get a review. Baby, no, we ain't doing that. Yeah, I'm joking, but I'm so serious. It was horrible. Because I was so fearful, y'all. I'm a math and science person. I know numbers. I didn't know how to write, but all I knew was God had told me to do, right? And so, baby,
And that's the key. That's the key.
I was still chicken,
God
though.
told you to do it.
That's right. I wrote it, and I wrote it in here behind it. So I had to like this, like, yeah, it was me, maybe. So I didn't do a pre-launch. Now, for the first one, I didn't. But for the other ones after then, of course, you know, but you know what, y'all? I don't know if I ever really just get confident as a writer. I think I've gotten to the place where I know this lane is for me and that God has made certain promises, and I don't want to die with stuff in me that's supposed to be left in this earth.
Right.
So I just write. And I can, and y'all recording me?
Can't say it, can you?
Well, I don't like people all the time. And so sometimes writing is a way for me to connect with people. And so I write, you know, because I know there's people who need what I have and what I carry. And so I write. But I still to this day, I'm not the most confident writer. I've just learned to be an obedient writer. I've learned, like she said, you know your strengths and you pay for your deficiencies, baby. I would outsource something in a minute. Because I don't have to, as a writer, you don't have to do it all. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to be willing and obedient to do what's necessary. And baby, like that first book was a tragedy. Baby, everybody bought that book. I was like, dang, I sold out about 4 times. I'm like, why this book keeps selling out? This is horrible. But people tell me how, you know, they needed to hear it. And in my mind, I'm thinking this is so simple, but it was simple to me because it was my lane. Right. And it was what people needed. So sometimes you won't do a pre-launch. But as I've learned and matured and got from being a little chicken butt, pre-launches is the stuff, y'all. Let me tell you why. Because pre-launches will help pay for your book when you don't have the resources. Pre-launches has helped me to order my journals. When the money was funny, the change was strange. Pre-launches help pay for it, right? You put it out there. I'm launching. And you got to be hype about it, right? You got to talk about it. You got to get a couple, when you get a couple samples in, give it to, I've given a couple of free books out to people who have audiences, to people who I know that'll read it, and to people who I know love me, right? They just love Anthony and they're going to support me, but they also have the backing and the following to get out there. So I've given away free products to people that's going to say, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Y'all got to read this, right? And so it gets people to my website. and they're pre-ordering. Now I've gotten, and I'm a numbers person, so I know, okay, if the journals cost me $1,000 to get and I'm selling for $50, I need to sell this many journals to get for the pre-order to send my money to China so they can ship me my stuff, okay? So it's about the numbers. You got to know the numbers, but pre-launches help sometimes cover the cost when you don't necessarily have the money or the resources available.
Right.
Yes. Mhm.
Right. That's good.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
And if you're gonna ask God to give you seed to sow, please sow it.
Don't eat it.
Please sow it. Don't eat it. Don't wear it. Don't drink it. Just please sow it. And I say that because I know we're not talking about writing, but sometimes we can just become procrastinators, or sometimes we depend on other people. My story was I started writing my book probably back in 2005, and I was finished with it back then in 2005. I was waiting on someone to do the forward, and I was waiting on someone to edit. Back there during that time, it was floppy disk. Some of you probably don't even know what a floppy disk is, but it was on a floppy disk.
Hmm.
And so I had to transfer it from a floppy disk into another computer. And as computers died, you move it, you move it, you move it. And so now you get a newer computer, it won't open a floppy disk. So now you
Right.
got something, but you can't use it. So I'm like, okay, I should have done it beforehand, but I didn't. So God, I really don't want to have to start all this all over again, but I just, and you just procrastinate, and years and years and years come, you don't do it. So I prayed to God and I said, God, please forgive me. I should have done it. I shouldn't have been waiting on people. I should have just trusted you and just did what you told me to do. And so lo and behold, God said, do it again. Try it again. Put it in there, try it again. And I did. Microsoft came up with a new version that would open old formats. And I opened it up and the book was there. Man, I praised all throughout the house. I screamed, I shouted, I yelled, what turned flips, because I didn't have to do it all over again. And it was right there. And I said, God, I'm finishing it, and I'm finishing it now. And so what happened was everything was strategically in place. Once I did that, and once I said that, God, I wasn't even at work. They said they put my name in a drawer, and I came back to work. They said, you won $500. I said, that's my seed to sow. That's my publishing money. So I took that money and I was ready to do an editor. A guy that was working with IT came down the hall and he said, you doing a book? And I said, yes. He said, I'll edit it for you. I was a publisher. What if you let me read? Oh, everything just fell in place. So within a month, I had that book done and ready to go. Did I do a pre-launch? I did not. I know nothing about no pre-launch. The only thing I knew is that I had family and friends that I could tell about this book, and they would tell other people, and that's how it got out. And I sent copies to people that I wanted to share. So I gifted that to them. So again, account for that, because if you pay $215 for the book, you better add the extra for the shipping, because it's going to cost you to ship. So again, sow that into other people, and those investments will come back to you. And as you get that money for that, then you're able to buy more books and you're able to do more things. So again, you're funding your own future.
Yes. And let me add a quick story to her point to encourage somebody. I went to my girlfriend's, she hosted an event, and I can't remember what it was, last year, right? And it was this girl there that was speaking, and she was up talking, but she was reading poetry. And as she was talking, God was just beginning to feel like, Lord, leave me alone. I'm just here trying to support my friend. Well, long story short, he said, help publish her book. I said, oh, okay, Lord. Some time went by, I reached out to my friend. I said, hey, who's a young lady? Da, 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 da. So she connected me with the young lady, right? I said, girl, I don't know if God ever told you gonna be a writer or whatever. I said, but God told me to help you publish your books. Y'all, this baby had 5 books ready to be published.
Oh, wow.
She had 5. I said, wait now. He told me 1, not 5. Like, choose the first one, sis. But she had 5 books ready to be published. that she had written. And you know what? She said God told her 4 years ago that somebody was gonna publish her books for her.
That's what God does. That's right, Lord.
I just so happened to be in my friend event that I didn't feel like going to, but I was going to be support my friend and be loyal to her. And God put that girl on my mind. We published her book in less than 30 days, y'all, last year. She
That is
contacted me now. And Miss Ebony, now, baby, listen, the Lord said
No,
one.
just
No,
one.
I'm playing. But no, seriously, she was ready. She didn't know anything. It wasn't grammatically correct. We had to go through the editors and all of that stuff. But guess what? She did her part. She waited 4 years. Y'all, 4 years. 5 books
She
waiting.
never gave up. She
It cost
trusted
her
and believed God.
nothing. I funded her whole project because God told me to. She was ready. So be
Yeah.
ready.
God has somebody strategically in place, and that's what he does. He has people strategically in place. That's why timing is of the essence. When God says move, move, because people are waiting on you. They're in place.
Right. People are waiting just to hear your story. Like, this is your legacy you're leaving behind. Like, it's gonna be behind even when we're long, even when we're long gone. So definitely, follow that calling. Authorship is a calling, you know. Definitely be obedient to that calling. Pre-launch, marketing, social media ads. So if you don't know about like Facebook ads and stuff like that, you could potentially get a social media manager, but doing Facebook ads or either just doing it organically, meaning go in there, go and messenger and just talk to people about your book or just post about your book, get some people that support you to go, talk about your book, go to different events as well. Take your book there. They have different like women's conferences and stuff like that, depending on the genre of your book. Find, that's another good thing, your target audience. Find who your target audience is. Like, who did you write the book for? What did you have in mind when you were writing the book? That's how you're gonna find the people that your book is gonna best serve. And then you go where those people are, right? You figure out where they hang out, what they like to do, and you find them, right? And so it's marketing is like, I wish I knew how important it was when I wrote that. Like, it's so important for you to, I guess, understand the social media platforms because they literally change all the time. The algorithms just change all the time and there's different trends to keep up with and all this. But the number one thing is just staying consistent, and first 3 months of your book release are the most important. So definitely stay consistent with letting people know that you're an author, letting people know what your book is about. Post little excerpts from your book. You know what I mean? Do that on a weekly basis. Yeah, staying consistent, keeping that stride, because after a month or so, like, you might feel like it's dying down, the hype for the book. Don't let it die down. Keep it up. Like, just keep being consistent with getting your book out there. You guys have anything on that?
I did not do the marketing piece. I did not do the social media piece. I would not do that. I would invest in someone to do that because I know that I'm not going to do that. I'm like Apostle Ebony. I stay in my lane. That is not my area. It is not, and I don't desire it to be. But again, I didn't know that at the time. And like I said, I am going to relaunch my book. And I'm going to do it also with a workbook companion. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to invest in someone else to do what they are gifted to do, because again, that's not my area. And if some of you are saying the same thing, you're not going to do that, go ahead and set aside the little change to invest in somebody to do that, because you're not going to do it. Or if you're just not skilled to do it. If you're not skilled to do it, like we said, there are people out there that are and that will.
Right.
And so just invest in them to do that. Because again, live and learn. There are things that I did not know then that I know now.
Right.
And so again, even if you did something like Sister Kimberly said, you can change your cover, you can do revisions, you can relaunch it, you can get a second chance.
Right.
It doesn't end there with that first mistake that you call a mistake. It's opportunity. So seize that opportunity to redo it and get it out there. And just like she said, I have a list, maybe about 12 books that I could actually publish that I haven't done anything. It was just sitting there because I've never really seen myself as a writer, because I'm a teacher by nature. So I develop syllabus and handouts and things like that. And I always do that. But then God has given me other things and I just need to act on them. I've always put other people first, but God is saying it's my time. And when it's my time to do something, I hear, I take heed and I got to do it. And
Amen.
so again, we're here to help you guys in whatever way we can, because sometimes we didn't have that help. We just learned by trial and error. And now that we know better, we can help you guys do better.
That's good.
And you know what? Man, marketing is a beast. But you'll learn as you go. Baby, I had my journals. Y'all see me sometimes I'll be on the couch, my journal be laid behind me. I'll be taking pictures like, y'all see my little best friend. Like, because all they want to do is sit. I go to Liz's office, I'll prop it up right there with her stuff and take a picture. Like, look, y'all, my journal hanging out in the tax office with me. Like, just different stuff, because all marketing is just getting your information in front of people, letting them see it over and over again. And I've learned one of the signs of marketing, people don't want what other people don't want, right? So when I don't care if it's garbage, baby, I can put this water out here. If I put Dr. Taylor say, oh my God, Ebony water is the best, guess what? 10 people gonna come buy this water because they think that it's the best water ever and it's the smart water that you get in the grocery store because she said that it's good. 10 more people want this water because she said it's good, right? So with that, I've learned, like I said, with the book, put my product in the hand of people who has influence or who's good with marketing, who just like to talk and show up all the time, right? And so I've learned to be really strategic. When I first launched my first book, I learned free marketing. So I learned from Dana Chanel. She told us, she said, hey, get in your text line, text everybody in your text line, same text message, change the name, let it be personal. Hey, Dr. Taylor, girl, I released my first book and I'm super excited about it. It's mental health affirmations. I'm not mental health affirmations. The enemy within, overcoming negative and defeating thoughts. The Lord put this on my heart to be a blessing to people. I would love if you would support me in this. Can I count on your support? They ain't gonna say no, right? So within a couple of hours, I had $1,000 text message, but it took time. It took the consistency, and I had to deal with my rejection.
Yeah,
I had to deal with my rejection. Right. Well, I was hiding behind the book thinking like when I told you how I was hiding and I posted the book one time, baby, and was letting everybody else post it. I had my own rejections that I was still having to work through that I thought that I did, but in this new area, it was showing up in a different way. Right. And so sometimes we're scared to market. It's not that God is not God given. It's our own inner rejections that we have yet to deal with. Right. And so being an author, you got to deal with that. You have to, it's gonna make, listen, it's gonna make you deal with it. And so marketing for me is just, I've learned, y'all know I'm a paymaster. If it ain't my thing, I'm gonna pay somebody to do it. But there are certain things about marketing you have to learn to do yourself, right? You can't, if you have a marketing person pushing in and running ads and things for you, people want to know your personality, no like trust factor, right? They want to know who you are. They got to like you and then trust you before they even purchase your product. Now there's going to be some people because of the science of marketing, because she wanted it, I want it too, right? Want the next big thing. We go buy shoes and purses and bags because they have it and we want it, right? But there are some things about marketing where people just want to know you. What's your story? What are you about? How can I connect to you as a person? How can this book make me better? Let me see it in your life first. Right. So what does that mean? You got to show up. You got to smile a little bit. You got to have conversations. I call myself an ambivert, but I'm more introverted than anything. I really don't like being around and, you know, I get my energy from being by myself, truthfully. But I've learned that when I show up, I have to show up. So I prep myself for energy to show up places like this because I have to connect with the people. You know, when I go somewhere, one thing I'm really intentional about is when I'm there, people are going to laugh. Have y'all laughed today? I'm intentional about that, right? Because that's my no like trust factor. That's the way that y'all connect me. Like, you know, I like something about that girl. Guess what y'all gonna do? Come to my table because I made y'all laugh. Seriously. That's awesome. It's true. And I don't mean to say it like that.
and that's the opposite of an introvert and an extrovert. Because I can make myself laugh. I don't need anybody else. I can have a conversation with myself and I'm good. I mean, I can talk to a tree and I'm good. I'm that person. But other people are like, no. But I'm good all by myself. We can have a conversation in this pen, this table, this whatever, and I'm good. Yeah.
But knowing your personality. Knowing because your personality is a big part of your marketing, right? So know the areas that you're not strong in. So in times, because I'm an author, because I speak, because I coach, I have to show up in front of other people, invite me to speak. So I have to go ahead and prep myself. Ebony, you have to You have to do this. You have to show up with personality. You can't sit back, because I can sit at the table, baby, and I talk to none of y'all, and I'll be okay. Be like, okay, my little line, you sit that, but that's my natural person. But that don't work when I'm pushing products. So knowing your strengths in your personality, but also knowing your deficits, that's going to help with marketing. So some days when I'm in a vein, baby, I'm taking a picture, I'm changing shirts, I'm changing makeup, I'm taking a picture here, taking a picture outside, taking a picture in the car, and it'd be the same day, different outfits, baby. I done changed 10 different outfits that I'm saving for the rest of the month, because I don't feel like taking more pictures. I done recorded videos and everything, because I'm in a vein right now and I have the energy to do it before I go back into my shell. And then I wait and I release that over the next month, right? So
She says she's not into marketing.
I had to learn, y'all.
Yeah.
You have to, when you have products and you don't have the funds to pay for all these people, you have to learn, right? And then you can't become so dependent. You can pay for marketers, but it's still you, the person that they want to see. And that's the hard part for people who don't really like showing up in front of people, and you get your energy from being by yourself, and you rather, not mix and mingle. You have to learn how to show up. You got to go and have that prep talk in the mirror. Like, listen, girl. Now, you gotta go talk to these people that don't play. Don't be, you know what I mean? Go and show up and give. You have to do that sometimes. You got to do what's necessary. Yes, ma'am.
And you got to go back and pick it up.
Right. Yeah.
Can't say what you're not. You can say what you're not, but then God will remind you of who you are. And so the one thing I do want to say to validate everything that she was saying, but you're going to encounter, even if you get 50 good reviews, you're going to get one. Don't let that 1 or 2 or whatever review
Right.
alter what you've done. Because there are people that are out there that just don't like you anyway.
Mhm.
That's not going to say anything good. That's not going to promote you, but you
Right.
don't look at them. You know what you've done, and you trust the ones that have said something that needs to be said. So don't let that one thing deter you that somebody says when they do the reviews. Because you can look at Amazon, you'll have 100 people saying, oh, this is the best product since ever. And you get the one person going, this is awful, don't buy it.
Right.
So, and it's the same thing with if you've ever gone places. I don't know about you guys, but see, I have this husband and we have a different style of dressing, clothing, everything. So if I go out the house on a Sunday morning, where did you get that from? Why are you wearing that? This is mine. You do not have to wear it. You do not
Right.
have to like it. I'm not gonna let his dislike of my outfit change how I feel about it. 20
Right.
people can say they like it, matters not. I like it. And so again, if someone else doesn't, don't let that be your standard. You know what you like, you know what you've done, you trust in that process, and don't let someone else alter everything that God has already said was okay and good.
Yeah. Start putting yourself out there, like as an author. Like whatever you want to write about, start posting stuff about that, because then people are going to see you as the expert at that particular thing. And then when you come out with the book, they're like, oh, well, she knows what she's talking about, because she's been talking about such and such this whole time, or for like a month, and oh, she definitely knows what she's talking about. And but just be authentic, be yourself, be open and honest.
Transparent.
Right.
Transparency
Be
is
transparent.
key.
Yep. Because if you start now and just start posting about whatever it is you're gonna write about, people are gonna see that, and you're gonna be known for that. You're gonna be known as an expert for that. Like I'm known now as, for recovery and for trauma. People know me for those 2 subjects, so they know if there's another book coming out, it's gonna be something in that area, right? Because that's what I put myself out there as, and I love that. Let's see. We kind of touched on author copies and pricing on Amazon, but do you guys have anything to add about those last 2 things?
That's all gonna be in that handout that I'm gonna give them, where they can go to the
Okay.
website and see everything that's on there.
Yeah, and then the only thing I'll add to with pricing is one thing that some of my clients struggle with was, oh, how much to price it?
Mhm.
Two things I tell them. One, know the market, look for other people in the area, see what they're charging. But two, size does not dictate quality, right? You can have, I've read some of the most powerful books that were only 40, 50 pages. So size does not dictate quality, which does not dictate price. If you know that you're putting something out quality, be comfortable with it. I had a client, I wouldn't have put the book out there for $20. She put that book out there for $20. Baby, they bought it like it was hot cakes. I was like, well, Lord, teach me a lesson, right? And I asked her because I said, well, why you want to price this one at 20? She said, well, Ebony, the first book we did at 10. The second book was 15. So let's just do this one at 20. That was her rationale. That was her rationale. They bought more of that book than they did the other ones. She sold out of that book about 4 or 5 times. I was appalled.
Well, I mean, because the reality, sometimes if you set it too low, then they think it's not a quality book.
Mhm.
So again, you're doing your research and you want to set it to where you do want to be able to sell the book, but you don't want to sell it so cheap that people think, oh, if it's $10, it's not worth it. So again,
And the funny thing, that book was her smallest book in size and in amount of content that was in there. But it turned over 4 or 5 times. Right. So yes, you have a market to kind of to scale it by, but also go with what's on your heart. You know, she's right. There's a science of marketing that says if it's too low, I can put this bottle of water for $15 and her bottle of water up there for $2.50. They're gonna overlook her bottle for $2.50 and go to mine
so there's
15
something that's special about that one.
Yeah.
because it costs more.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the science of marketing
Yep.
with the human mind. And we bought it, matter of fact, came out the same case out of Sam's. They took it and put up it separate, but because I put 15 on mine and she put 250 on hers, something has to be deficient about hers because it costs less.
Right.
It's the same thing.
I did
So-
mine by the pages, like how many pages I wrote. Mine is close to 220 pages, I think. And that's how I did mine. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Just definitely read the handout and just decide, pray about it and decide what's best for you and what you've written.
And it depends on what your the product, the price points, what it costs you to have it made. Most books that on Amazon between $2 to $3 for the most part, unless it's colored. So it costs you, let's say $2.50 to make that book, right? How much is it gonna cost you to ship that book? So if you're shipping 50 books gonna cost you probably about, let's say $49. So that's $1 a book that is costing you to ship the book. So now the cost of the book for you is $2.50 plus another $1 for shipping. So it's $3.50 that it's gonna cost you to make this book. You wanna at least make double of that. So if it's $3.50 for you to make it, you wanna at least charge $7, right? At the minimum, so you can have a 100% return on the book of $3.50, right? So that's the least or the minimum. With my journals, it cost me more to make the journals. They're hardback. I had to get it from China. Well, the journal itself cost me to have made about $11 and some change. But I had to factor in the cost of the designer. I had to factor in the cost of the editor. I had to factor in the cost of all of those things, plus my time, energy, and efforts, plus the shipping costs, because shipping from China ain't cheap. So all of that, and then I have to at least double it to get back what I put into it and to make a profit, and then any other time or, cross it across the market to see what the market is for that product. So it takes a little bit of research sometimes when it comes to pricing, or go with the Lord, baby. Listen, if he give you a price, my friend said she's gonna do $20. She did $20 and she sold $20.
Yeah.
So
Buying author copies and maybe like if you want to go as far as like in the website and stuff, this is where you're gonna make the most return at, rather than just selling them on Amazon. So definitely buying your author copies, keeping a stock of those, and you have to. It takes about 2 weeks, about 2 weeks for Amazon. So if you need something in a month or just know it's gonna take 2 weeks for the books to get back to you. No matter how many you order, it's still gonna take 2 weeks.
Y'all understand? I'm sorry. What an author copy is? Because we keep saying author copy. Okay, I figured. So what an author's copy is, when you create the book and say you put the book on Amazon, Amazon can sell your book for you, right? When you type in, what's your name? Evelyn Morris on Amazon. and all of Evelyn Morris's books is gonna pop up, right? And you got Amazon Prime, you can get that book within 2 days, right? Evelyn, is it 60/40 or 70/30? What's the split?
I think it's 60/40.
60/40,
Yeah.
okay. So of Evelyn's book was, let's say, $10 on Amazon. Amazon shipped it out, you went on the website, right? Of that $10, it's a 60/40 split. Amazon gets 40%, Evelyn do they get the higher or the lower?
They get the high.
They get the
Okay,
highest.
so
one,
They
yeah.
get the high.
Amazon gets $6 and Evelyn gets $4 of that,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
that's when you put it on the different platforms. And rightfully so, you know, they publishing it, they shipping it
printing
out,
it,
they're
they're
printing
doing
it out. You ain't did nothing but write it and put it on their website, right?
Right,
So
right.
they get
For free,
$6,
it says.
you
Right.
get $4, right? But Amazon also have where when you go into your KDP back office, where you can order this thing called an author's copy. And what an author's copy is books that you have on hand. And so author's copies, all it costs you is the amount it takes Amazon to make the book, which is typically between $2 and $3 if it's black and white.
Yeah.
So you can order author's copies at $3 a book. You order 10 books, that's $30 for $30 for 10 books, and then you have to
Shipping.
and then you have to pay for shipping, which is, let's say, another $20. So that's $50 for 30 books, right? And so when you get the author's copies back, it costs you let's say $3.50 with the shipping. So now when you sell your book, like how we selling them now, it costs me $3.50, and I'm gonna sell the book to you for, let's say, $15. Now, instead of Amazon getting 60% of my profit, now I get to keep $12, and
Right.
I get to keep the whole thing, but $3.50 has to come out for the cost of the book,
Right.
versus Amazon getting a big portion of it, I only keeping the less.
Right.
That's why I always encourage my authors to order your own author copies. Definitely list your books on websites, because I've had people buy my books that'll go on Amazon and look for mental health affirmation book. My book pop up and, you know, they buy it. But you get more return on your money, and you keep more of your profit if you order author's copies.
Right.
So it's just keep author's copies is the books that you can keep on hand.
And especially like if you're in ministry and you travel a lot, you have all these engagements and you want to take your books with you and have on table, your author's copy will allow you to be able to do that, and then you reap the profits. And rather than telling somebody to go to Amazon, yeah, they can get it quicker, get it shipped to them, but that's less profits for you.
I'll never tell nobody to go to Amazon and get none of my
No.
products ever. They don't
Yeah.
even know they on there. Seriously.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
Amazon
I'm
get
the
my
same
money.
way.
Because they can get it from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are there are different events and stuff that you can go for your book, and there are it is 12%. Yeah, there are groups called like Arklatex events or Louisiana events that you can go on and find events that you can go to go sell your book. But now we're opening up for if you guys have any questions.
It's not really a question. I just want to say thank you, ladies, for your informative information. I did not know much. I felt like doing my listening about reading. I did do Facebook Live one time. I was like, very wonderful crowd.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good job.
Yeah. I love that.
Any more questions?
Did any of you guys use like some of the popular recent activities, how if you ride in your car and then you just talking your book out, like, 'cause I wanted to know, I've heard of some of the websites, but I didn't catch it, but I was trying to see what would work, like, if you don't want to just sit here and write all day, but you can kind of talk your book out while you on the go, or if you on the go.
Yeah, so I use dictation software. But let me tell you, baby, that dictation software is a beast. That thing was writing stuff that I didn't even know it was saying. I tried to go
Right.
back and try to, I was like, what in the world is this?
Because
Let me
there's
tell
an
you.
articulation point.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, if you got a little swing in that tongue, baby, you better read every sentence as it's dictating, okay? Because my first book, it was a mess, y'all, I'm telling you. I dictated it, I used Dragon. And Dragon is a good dictation software. The error that I made was not stopping every 5 sentences to go back and read what it was dictating. And so, by the time I got ready to read that thing, I didn't know what I was talking about. I was lost in thoughts and ideas, and I was like, man, what is this talking about? And so I had to go back and good thing that I brainstorm and have a lot of ideas written down, so I was able to go back and capture. But sometimes you'll get in the flow where Holy Spirit will give you stuff in a moment. So dictation software is good, but baby, every 4 or 5 sentences, stop and read it.
Yeah.
Um,
Use your phone. Just
Yeah.
record on your phone, your audio, and then someone will transcribe it for you. Just do that.
Transcribers on Fiverr. You
Yes.
can find them.
Microsoft Word has dictation. I don't know if it's just the newer ones or what, but Microsoft Word has dictation now as well, where you talk and it dictates. But yeah, I've done that. I dictated first when I got away from that dragon, baby. That was. But I do that a lot now to record on my phone. And I won't pay a dictator. I just type it up myself. Because moments, God drop when you're a writer and you just live in that creative flow, God will drop stuff on you. And so sometimes I can't write. I just pick up my phone and go to my voice memos and I'll record what I thought I did, get it out of my head, and then I'll go back to it and just type and dictate. So yeah, but Dragon is a really good one. They have different ones out there. I use Dragon, but with all of them,
Any more
so many
questions?
sentences. read it.
Enunciation is key. Because you guys know, even like with Siri, you'll say one thing and they're like, no, that's not what I said. And you keep trying. That's the same way with some of these dictations, is making sure that you enunciate and get your words clear so that they can actually dictate exactly what you're saying.
You were first. What-
Me personally, I'm kind of the day that we got the call up to come up, I moved out of that obedience where it's like, okay, no, I did say that, but you still don't feel it, but it's just obedient. And God gave me 2 particular things to write. I've never thought about writing, don't have that desire, but I'm gonna be obedient if I know that God gave me something. So I started something maybe 2 years ago. I didn't finish it. I think I only shared it with Pastor Jackson because I'm trusting her to look at it. And honestly, she challenged me to go deeper. And I was like, no, don't have time to do it. So I did nothing else with it. But I'm in a lane, like you said, which I like. And I really admire what you were saying because that's a lane that I'm kind of starting in, affirmations, inspiring vision. I do that with my group of women like every day. So I do have like a 21-day vision purpose thing in my phone and it's complete. And I don't know where do I go from there? Like now what? Do I go to editing? Do I let somebody see it? What's the next step when you completed like your raw thought? Like I have it A to Z. So what's next?
Do you have it? Do you have raw thought, or do you have the
Format.
whole thing completed?
And see, I don't know. I got it formatted.
Wait a minute.
Wait, did she just say I don't know?
Or you finished writing it?
I did. I said I don't know because listening to y'all today, that's the first I've ever heard of the one down. I just know
Okay.
according to me, I have the outline of everything that he gave me from A to Z. I edited it according to Shayla.
In written format.
But you finished writing it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay,
you
yeah.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay.
And I'm saying like now what?
So now you're picking your size. What size book do you want that in? What format do you want that in? So that's
Right.
what you're at. And so you're at that point of transferring it over to your book size.
Yep. Book size and get an editor.
And get an editor and do your formatter and coverings. I mean, so you,
Get your book
You
cover
ready
and
to roll.
you're
You
off
have
to
a
the
hard part.
races.
You can have a book in 30 days, girl.
your hard part is over. Yeah.
Yeah, the hard part is
And
over.
you know what? Do you have it in Word?
I have it, I typed it and I transferred it in PDF and Word.
Okay. Go play with the one thing I'll do is I'll go play with the sizes in Word. Just change the size of the document. From a 6x9, which is standard, 5x7 is standard. Well, no,
5x8.
5x8 is standard. 6x9, no, 6x9, 5x8. What is that? Go down. 4x6 is standard. There are some standard sizes, and just what I'll do sometimes is just change the size of it to see how full it'll be, especially when it's like devotionals and things like that. to kind of get an idea of, okay, do I want a 6x9? Do I want a 5x8 or whatnot? But you can literally have a book in 30 days.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So go to FIVERR.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find someone that could edit and format. And listen, they don't have to be $300-400 people. They can be 50. Typically, my book covers cost about $20 or less. Um, like I said, editors is where I pay the most money. But it still doesn't have to be hundreds of dollars.
Right.
Read the reviews on them. See if they edit the way that you like. Ask questions. Look and see what they offer. Because truthfully, you can have a book published from where you are less than $200.
Yeah. Less than 200.
Less than $200.
Yeah.
In 30 days, Shayla.
Yep. Next question.
Yeah.
Oh, she.
Oh, it was over here?
Yeah. I'm not sure about ghostwriting.
Okay, so ghostwriting is when you get somebody else to write the book, basically. A lot of big name people, maybe they'll be writing them books. They get ghostwriters. But ghostwriters cost a lot of money. Most ghostwriters start at, and this is very low end, $5,000. So, listen, I ain't there yet. No. But so ghostwriting is when you write an outline. Sometimes they'll voice record, because when you ghostwrite, you have to allow that ghostwriter to get into your head an ideal, and so you have to tell the stories and put all the stuff, the brainstorming and brain dumping. It has to be really clear to hand over to a ghostwriter. Self-publishing is when you do all the stuff yourself to publish your book on your own. Like I told Shayla, she can have a book published, self-publishing for under $200 within 30 days, probably less than that, depending on how fast her formatters and her editors, and the book cover take, which is still, some of them turn stuff over in 2 days, right?
Right.
Having somebody else reread it, though, those 2 or 3 extra eyes put on it, will probably be more of the lengthy process. So self-publishing is when you do everything yourself. Getting a publishing company is when you, and there's different ways that they do it, but it's when you take your manuscript and you hand it over to a publishing company and they bring you back a book. Now, with publishing companies, they typically are a little bit more pricier. They run I've seen the cheapest from $1,500 on up, just depending on
Like if
what,
you want marketing too. 'Cause-
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with publishing companies is, I'm not gonna say there's everything for everybody, which depended upon your need. I don't encourage publishing companies. I just always push people to self-publish,
Yeah.
because you can really do it on your
There's
own.
more
and say-
flexibility and more
Right.
control on your part.
and more
More
control on your book
royalties.
orders, because when you go through publishing companies, what I found, I've never gone through a publishing company. I've worked with clients that have, and then come to me after the fact.
Right.
But when you're working with publishing companies, they control how many books you get. You got to go do all your ordering through them. Of course, when you order through them, they're going to up the price because they're going to make a profit off of it. So it's just, I always put self-publishing because it's possible. It's
Right.
possible. It may take a little bit more work on your end. Now, granted, if y'all, some of those people that, listen, bring me back a book, and you don't care about cost, yeah, go
then
to a
that's where you
publishing
go.
company. You go to, they take care of everything for you. Some of them are really good. They'll do marketing for you and different things like that. They'll build a website, author's website for you and things like that.
Set
So
up your book signings.
yeah, they'll set it up. So low ball 1,500, but I've seen it go all the way up to 5,000, just depending on. But I always push self-publishing.
And if you have a Christian book, TBN has a publishing house. Yeah. TBN has a publishing
TBN,
house.
dayspring.com, they have us publishing.
Yeah. For
so-
Christian books, they sure do.
But you can start self-publishing until they pick you up. You
Mhm.
know, I
Right.
have a check written in my wallet for $2 million for a book deal. Right,
Yeah.
but I'm self-publishing right now. So somebody gonna write me a $2 million check for publishing books.
Yes, indeed.
It's
Glory
gonna be a
to God.
publishing company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But right now, I'm out here in these self-publishing streets.
Right.
So, you have a question?
Okay. awesome.
And
Thank
you know what? All authors aren't really authors. Some speakers are authors. You know what? Because how I think of it is, what ways can I exhaust my gift? Right? So I got a gift of gab. I just be talking all the time, y'all. It's ironic because I don't like people, but whatever. So I have a gift of gab. And okay, Ebony, how am I going to exhaust this gift of gab? Can I talk to everybody all the time? Absolutely not. And I don't have the energy to talk to people all the time. So what do? I write, right? I create a podcast. I create courses because I'm trying to exhaust the gift to make sure that I'm efficient and effective in reaching people in different ways. So do I necessarily consider myself to be a born author? No. I'm a speaker that just like to exhaust my gifts.
That's good.
Make sense? Exhaust them gifts, sis. Yeah. And I'm a teacher at heart too, so I love to teach. And I know that I can't always teach everybody everything. So one way that I can teach people, or is through writing. It's through writing. So.
And especially with the poetry, that's another way of releasing and sharing and teaching. So, I mean,
Yeah.
poets are authors once you publish.
Yeah. Go ahead. That's awesome. Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Sounds like you're doing both.
Why not both? Yeah. Not
Yeah.
both.
So you just said what your passion was, where God has given you have a heart for both. So you know for sure you have two books to write.
All right.
And how to choose which one? Just put it on the altar before the Lord. Which one's stirring? Which one's at the forefront of your thoughts? Which one's playing in the recesses of your mind? Which one you can articulate out of mouth? Which one you can have conversations about right now?
Right.
We can have a 15-minute dialogue. You just talk about that thing. Choose that one first because it's gonna be easier to flow out of you, right? And then write the idea down for the other one. So once you finish the one that's at the forefront of your heart, you can begin to work on the next one.
And like Ebony was saying earlier, you might get a brain dump. You might get material on both of them, so you'll just have it there, and you can just pull into whichever writing you're doing. So
Keep a notebook with you because as you start writing, things are gonna come up. So definitely keep a notebook with you everywhere that you go, so you can write it down, or either a voice memo on
Voice
your
memos.
phone. Yeah,
Yeah.
voice memo on your phone or anything like that.
because the organization of it is a lot easier. Just getting it out is the
Right,
hardest.
yeah.
So get it out. The organization is easy.
I agree.
Yep. And when you hit those moments where insufficiency, rejection, and you get close to the end, you're like, man, everybody gonna read this, why am I writing this, da 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 da. I just remind myself, God, you said that my voice will go further than my feet would ever go, that you have people assigned to my voice that need what I have to say. It's not for everybody, but it's for somebody, and God, those people that it's for, that it will impact their lives. And I just have to remind myself of that because sometimes we'll get into the writing process and discouragement to try to set in. And so sometimes we have to talk ourselves and remind ourselves of what God said. And, hey, Ebony, you cannot leave here with this. That's my biggest thing. I do not want to die with anything that I'm supposed to release in the earth. So I have to remind myself, Ebony, you have to finish this project because someone needs what you have and you cannot die with this. So.
That's good.
Another question or comment? how do you not see yourself as an author?
You're already an author.
Yeah, whether you see it or not, it's already there.
Hey, that's you.
Yeah, that's just who you are. Now, the easy part is acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah, may not agree with it, but I got to accept it because that's just
Right.
who I am, and I just got to move forward in that vein. Because if we would be honest, we didn't see ourselves as authors either. But again, but like you said, not until you get that book cover, you know, you got that design, you got stuff. That's when the realization hits. Man, I'm doing this,
Yeah,
and that's when it comes. So again, just keep pushing forward. You'll get there.
absolutely.
Yes.
You can ask as many questions you want to,
Right.
sweetheart.
So, every book about you writing has to be, and I say that because I've been through a lot of things, so I talk to different people. I can do many different personalities with a lot of situations. So now I am stepping out of some more spiritual needs. And anything that has my name on it, I don't want to misrepresent my needs or, you know, family or just anyone. So I'm cautious now, and it's like, I know, like you said, you have to reach your audience, different audience.
Right.
All of my books are not gonna be spiritual, but all of my books are not gonna be, derogatory and things of that nature, but I want to be able to publish without misrepresenting myself for one and who I surround myself with.
You know, I never want to misrepresent God, for one. Man is man.
Right.
And I understand the honor and the diplomacy that goes with wanting to respect and honor your leaders. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I be trying to please God. That's it.
That's on my list. I forgot to say that earlier, but that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's not about making people proud. It's about pleasing God.
Right.
That's the end result. If someone is not happy with it, as long as God is pleased, that's all that matters. So if this is something that God told you to do, you got to do it.
Yeah.
If you're going to please God. Now, if you want to try to make somebody proud and please man, you can do that, but you won't have satisfaction in God.
Mhm. And, you know, I'm really big on being able to lead people to God without having to be God, 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 Jesus, Jesus, Jesus,
Right.
Holy Spirit,
Right.
Yoda, bullshit,
Right.
Right.
They know.
You know what I mean? And so, like I said, mental health affirmations, there's my one scripture in there. That book goes further than any of my other books. Organizations, hospitals. I'm partnered with some mental health hospitals here that buys my books every month. Ain't got not one word of God in there. You see what I mean? Does it
Right.
make God proud? Absolutely, because it's exactly what he told me to do.
Absolutely.
We have to know as a church that our reach is outside of the four walls and that we'll reach people and bring people, because our ultimate goal is to be a representation of the glory of God in this earth, right? Can people see the glory of God in me even if they don't know that it's God in me?
Exactly.
Am I the
Exactly.
difference, right? So when people see me, whether I'm saying God, Jesus, preaching the scripture or whatnot, or if I'm just having conversation that's empowering you, utilizing my gifts, exhortation, empowerment, teaching you, you see what I mean, encouraging you, are you being edified by being in my presence of God flowing through me? So
Right.
even in my writing, I try to do that, whether it's godly writing, spiritual, to reach the audience of the believers, or if this audience is outside of the church. I just obey God and make sure that he's glorified. Now,
Right.
to your point of what you asked, is everything that we write have to be written? Absolutely not. There's times where I use a lot of my testimony in my close quarters, in my academy, my Soul Care Academy, when I'm working with the ladies. I use a lot of my personal testimony of my struggles, then we talk through there, right? You don't see a lot of my testimonies in my books because God didn't instruct me to write
release
that or to release it right in that platform. But there's always a place. You have to know posture, position, place, and platform of where to release certain things. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Any other comments or questions? What do you mean the difference? Meaning,
I'm trying to get an understanding of, like, a picture, or if you wanted to write a story, but yet
stressing the point of fiction and nonfiction, the simplest term is truth or non-truth. That's, I mean, this is fictional, it's not real. Non-fictional, this is truth, this is real. So that's your difference in knowing, which platform you're gonna choose.
But you can capture, it's knowing your audience.
Right.
And knowing what God has called you to
To
do.
do.
Because you may be a fictional writer. I have a girlfriend that writes these crazy stories, these fictional stories about life and hardship and all these different things with these fictional characters, but it draws,
real.
yeah. And it draws the audience to, you see what I mean? And there's an end goal in her writing. There's something that she wants to accomplish in the reader's life by her writing these novel-like stories, but it's not self-help. It's not
Right.
biography. It's not, you see what I mean?
Right.
See, because there's going to be different type of art. Even the three of us sit up here, we do different types of writing.
Yeah.
We have three different processes. We have different ways that God deals with us. We have
Right.
different expression of how God deals with us. We may have some of the same gifting, different expression, different personality. Our personalities are different, so it shows up in the way that we express our gifts in our writing and different things like that. Yeah. So it's just knowing yourself as
And your audience, because there are people that are going to buy fictional writing. They don't want the non-fictional, they want fictional.
Yep.
And then,
Right.
so again, knowing your audience, that's what you're gonna do, is target your audience, and that's who you're gonna cater to. Okay, so we have questions for those of you that don't, if you're done with your questions, we have some questions up here that we're supposed to answer. So we just wanna make sure that you guys get all your questions in first before we proceed there.
Right.
So.
Let me ask you, do you guys know your audience? That's important.
I thought
That
about
Because
that
that's what
too.
you
I
have
thought
to do.
about that
That's
too,
the
yeah.
first and foremost
Yeah.
of knowing who you're writing to and
Yeah.
why you're writing to them.
Mhm.
And what do you want to accomplish? Do you want to hit that big stage of, ooh, I want this to be success as well as financially, or what is it that I'm searching for? So you have to answer all those questions. Or am I just getting this out there because I want to help as many people as possible? And if it's prosperous along the way, I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I'm trying to fulfill a purpose. So again, answering all those questions before you even decide.
Mhm. Who's going to buy your book?
Right.
What do they look like? I do visualization exercises with my clients. What do they look like? What do they work? What type of jobs they work? What do they struggle with? Do they have children? Do they not have children? Are they corporate? Are they stay-at-home workers? Are they moms? Are they church people? Are they non-church people? Are they people that love God but they ain't going to the church no more? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
Right.
who is your audience? Try to specify in on them as much as possible, and not just who they are, but how they struggle. Because remember, your product is the solution to their struggle, right? A lot of times when I'm in a vein to say, okay, God, what's to create in this season? I see the questions or the issues that people come to me the most often for. I'm gonna create a solution for it. That's how I know
That's
it's my
awesome.
next project. If I
Right.
get a lot of people coming to me, Ebony, how do I hear from Holy Spirit? I'm having a hard time with connecting with God. Guess what I'm writing about?
Connecting with them.
Guess what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
Connecting with God, because people need an answer. And if I have multiple people coming to me for that same thing, there's an answer that's needed in that season for that.
And people are always looking to improve their lives.
Always.
Always looking for ways that they
Right.
can do better, be better. And so if you have that answer, they're going to reach out to it.
Always. You're the solution. Whether you're
Right.
writing, whether you're speaking, whether you're creating, whether you're dancing, you are a solution of some sort.
Okay, I'll start off with the questions I have. Do you guys want to just go through all of them each?
However
one.
we need to do. If it's something that we've already probably covered, probably not.
Okay. So, many writers experience writer's block. Does it ever happen to you, and how do you approach it? Yeah, that's definitely happened to me. Like I said in the beginning, I took all of 2021 to write my book, and there was a couple of months where I didn't have anything. I didn't think of nothing. Like even with the outline, like I couldn't just take myself back to that place, or to really understand how I felt at that moment. And so when I had those moments, I prayed. I prayed about what to do next, what to write, how to write it, how to express it. I prayed about it. So if you ever feel that writer's block, definitely pray about it. Can you tell us more about the title? How did you come up with it? What is its significance? The title of my book is Stuck Between Pleasure and Pleasing God. And God gave me that title as a teenager. Like I knew I would be an author. I just didn't know like what my book would be about. I didn't know like the extent of the book. And so I've had that title since I was, a teenager. And so, yeah, that title definitely came from God. Do I have any advice for the new writers trying to find their way in the industry? Editing and marketing, of course, are the most important. Definitely take the time out to read, reread, and reread your book when you're getting it edited, and have another set of eyes as well, somebody you trust to read it as well before you give your editor or whoever's formatting it for Amazon the final copy. Read it, read it, read it. Matter of fact, if you get tired of reading it, read it one more time just to make sure. And marketing. Marketing your book. If you don't know how to do it, research it. But if you don't want to research it, then there are social media managers out there that will market it for you. So you don't have to know everything.
But you know what? I'm a type of person, I want to know a little bit about everything. If
Me
it's
too.
something in my business, I want to at least know how to do it. Because if I have an idea, I know how to build a website. Would I rather pay somebody to do it? Absolutely. I don't feel like I have the time to do it. But if I have an ideal of something that God gives me to launch in the middle of the night, I don't want to wait 2 days for you to be able to go on my website and do. Yeah, I want to know how to do a little bit of everything,
Right.
which I learned to do a little bit of everything in my business. So you will have marketers, you will have people that you can pay to do stuff, but learn the basics. Learn the basics. Learn the basics of marketing. Marketing is just showing up, right? Taking pictures, talking about how good it
Consistency.
is. Pull a affirmation out. If y'all have noticed, well, I hadn't done it here lately because I've been healing from grief, so I've been taking some time away from social media. But what's my main thing I put on my social media? Affirmations all the time. All the time. When I put affirmations, what am I talking about? Healing, health, emotional trauma, something like that. When I put a prayer up there, I'm praying for you, those who can't sleep at night because your hearts are heavy. I'm intentional. I'm staying in my lane, right? So but learn a little bit about everything. I learned a little bit about marketing, showing up, how to show up, things that convert. Learn a little bit about social media. I still hadn't gotten that social media thing, but one thing I have learned to do is just show up and say something. Make them laugh. Every now and then you will see, I don't put too much of my personal stuff out there, but I put something out there that's funny. I want y'all to like my husband. I want y'all to like me as the wife and the family person. So I show up and I put a picture of me and my husband. I talk about him talking about me, and we all laugh about it. You know what I mean? That's a marketing piece. It's very intentional. I use my social media very, very intentional, not just for haphazard. Even when I put the video the other day, me chasing my dog, one of my dogs got out and I chased him. I need to get my algorithm up because I hadn't been on social media for a while. So a lot of people liked that video and it made them laugh. Guess what? Kicked my algorithm up because I needed to post about my journals a couple of days later, and so now my algorithm's up. So just learn the little stuff that you can. Definitely, I'm an outsourced person, but learn a little bit about everything if you can. My questions were stuff that we've already answered. Can you describe the writing process? We've talked about that. How do you feel about promotion and marketing? I already told you, learn what you can, but baby, I be paying them people, okay? Do you like to take the reins or hand over marketing to a third party? Both. I do what I can because, like I said, third party people can only do so much. Know, like, trust. Know, like, trust. That's important. People have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you before they buy from you. They have to see something 7 times before they buy it. It's just the science of marketing. Those little things. Go on YouTube, y'all. Look up marketing, how to sell my book, how to sell my product, best ways to show up in marketing. If you have something that's common between 10 people saying the same thing, okay, let me try to master that one thing, right? And a lot of them are gonna say consistency, just showing up, being consistent on social media. So I like to know the little bit that I do so I can do my part, but for big marketing, for people knowing how to run ads and all this stuff, that's not my lane. I'd rather pay for it. And then were there any challenges in writing your book? What were they? Yes. The writer's block, dealing with the rejection, feeling like I'm not good enough. Oh, something she said I wanted to go back to when she was saying editing, going back and rereading it. Don't go back and keep changing it, though. Because if you know your weaknesses as a person, just as self-assessment, know your weaknesses. If you're a procrastinator and you know that you're a procrastinator, what you're gonna do is gonna go back and you're gonna keep re-editing, you're gonna keep adding. Oh, it's not good enough. Let me change this. Let me add this. Oh, it's not long enough. Oh, let me add this over here. And guess what? It's gonna be 2 years and you still ain't put it out there.
It delays the
It delays the process because you're a natural procrastinator. You need to know that about yourself, not to beat yourself up, but just to know that's what I'm gonna do. Or I struggle with the fear of the opinion of man. So, okay, am I going back trying to change this for it can be perfect versus it being effective and efficient? Right? So know those things about yourself. Know some of my challenges, having to overcome my own personal deficiencies to overcome those to be obedient to what God told me to do.
My question is, one of them, do you like self-publishing or do you prefer to take the traditional publishing route? Self-publishing, that's what I prefer. What's your favorite part about the publishing journey? What's your least favorite part? My favorite part was the completion, having it actually in my hand. The least part was the editing, because again, having to go back over, that's tedious, but again, you can outsource that, but that's all part of that journey. What are my thoughts on the publishing industry? Do I think that it's easier or harder for authors to publish nowadays? It is a lot easier for artists to publish. I mean, Amazon, KDP, Lulu, all of that makes it a lot easier for you. So yes, it's a lot easier today than it was when I started.
Absolutely, and today you're in more control of your profits, more control of your writing. You know, it's just that's why I always push people to self-publish. Like, if you can self-publish, self-publish.
Right.
Definitely self-publish. There's not a person on this earth that shouldn't be a published author because it's cost efficient to be a self-publisher now.
Yeah.
And you can get contracts with different schools, different places where they just want your book, and you can be exclusive. And therefore, if it's something that they have to have, they have to do directly through you. And so
Right.
again, that's all of your profit. So again, you control distribution when you're doing self-publishing as well.
Do you guys have any more questions? No? Okay.
So what's the most important part of the process?
Oh, that's good.
Edit. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Editing. So when you edit, what are you gonna do with the editing process? Y'all tell me.
There you go.
And reread, and then what else?
Didn't read again.
Huh? Okay. What else? There you go.
There you go.
Pay somebody else, outsource it,
Yeah.
and let somebody else put their eyes on it. And read it. There you go.
Right.
And let it read
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
Put it on audio, and let it read to you.
Don't forget to read backwards. When
Read
you're doing your
back-
editing, read backwards.
Oh, yeah.
No more, just excited about the venture that you guys are getting ready to take and look forward to just being a help to whatever we can to help you guys make your dream a reality.
Hold on. I got something to say. God dang, Liz. God, dog. I know. But you know what? Just do it. Just do it. No more delay. Make up in your mind that I'm going to release a writing project this year or by this first half of the year. Seriously, just make up your mind to do it. Just make up your mind to do it. And what if, and don't, you know, we be trying to um, sit and wait in the presence of the Lord and all that stuff. Listen, sometimes God already gave you the goal. He's just waiting on you to move. So just make up in your mind. Put a time. It's not a goal if it doesn't have a time frame and a deadline. I'm going to release my book by June. I'm going to release my book by July. I'm going to release my book by my birthday. I'm going to release my book by Black Friday. I'm going have a deadline on it. And just do it. Don't overthink it. God has already, the fact that you guys are here means that God gave you the permission to do it. It's already within you to do. You have the capabilities. You have everything that you need to do it. You have the resources. We give you a lot of stuff here for free that I charge my clients good money for. Go produce. Go produce. Just make up your mind that I'm going to do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just have to be obedient. It has to be excellent. We want excellent, not perfection. What you don't know, somebody else do. I'm not the best writer. I'm not the best grammatically correct, but there's somebody out there that can do what you can. So don't worry, but do what you can. Exactly. Do what you can. Let other people do what they can. Okay? So who are going to produce this year? Everybody. Yes, yes. Why you didn't raise your hand? She wait. Oh, you here supporting your daughter. So you're going to make sure your daughter writes something this year? Oh. And put a subtitle on it, because my first book, The Enemy Within, it was out there. Put a subtitle. So it was The Enemy Within. I subtitled it, Overcoming Negative and Defeating Thoughts. That's what made mine different from theirs. Put a little subtitle. Mhm.